Hey, what's going on, folks? Yes. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, please hit that like and subscribe. Also, don't be a stranger. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you thought about today's video. Any thoughts about that? Agree, disagree with some of my perspectives. Also, if you have any recommendations of shows, let me know in the comments. You all know my slogan. I talk to the camera, so hopefully you guys talk back in the comments. And let's get into it, man. It has been a number of years since Atlanta's been off the air. And now, just in one episode, Atlanta shows you exactly why they have such a fan base that they do. It was a two-episode premiere, but I'm just going to focus on the very first episode titled 3 Slaps. And yeah, that really just embodies what Atlanta is about. How Atlanta can just take you just in so many directions, just from start to finish of every episode. And so, yes, this will be a spoiler alert, but so you've been warned. So let's get into it, man. I'm almost speechless just because I'm so excited for Atlanta to be back. But yeah, the story talks about doesn't even focus on the main characters, as you all know, but yeah, it focuses on a boy named Aquarius, who is a class clown, kind of a disruptor in class, and things of that nature, and things get quite dangerous for him from that point on. For those who are unfamiliar about it, and this is another reason why I love Atlanta, this was actually based on a true tragic story. The story of Jennifer and Sarah Hart. These were foster parents who adopted a number of black children and ended up driving off a cliff, purposely driving off a cliff, killing themselves as well as the black adopted children. The oldest adopted child was Devontae Parker, and this is pretty much a reenactment of that tragic event, just with some twists and things of that nature, or just with a different perspective, as you all know from the end of the episode. And I'm telling you, just from like the first 5 minutes or so, the fact that they reenacted some other things too. They reenacted some notable Twitter memes. Another thing that was reenacted, not sure if you all caught it, they reenacted I don't want to say iconic photo, but a notable photo of Devontae Hart hugging a police officer during a riot, and that was reenacted with Aquarius hugging an officer because he wanted to get away from his adopted family. He knew he was miserable, as you all know. So that too was also reenacted from social media. So just the fact that they took so much ammunition from social media and just brought it to the TV screen, I thought was amazing. Just was dope, and yet all the more reason why I'm a big fan of the whole writing team, the creators, just everybody involved with Atlanta, man. I mean, it's something else. But another thing I love about Atlanta, as I mentioned, it just embodies so many different directions. I know me personally, just speaking for myself, there was times that I did laugh just off some dark comedy type of stuff. There were times where I got angry. One notable part that really disturbed me, outside of just the horrible cooking and the girl slowly just getting sick and dying and not necessarily seeing a doctor, outside of those two things alone, just the fact that these white foster parents had the black children working outside and I think gardening or planting stuff, and she wanted them to sing. And when Aquarius was like, sure, I'll sing, and he was trying to rap one of his favorite rap songs, she wanted him to sing something more so like a Negro spiritual instead. Stuff like that got me angry for obvious reasons. And then there are some other moments, like some dark comedy moments, where it's just like, oh, this is yet a weird, twisted reason why Atlanta is so popular. The part where there's like that awkward, eerie silence in that van as the white parents are just, they lied to the kids saying they're going to go to the Grand Canyon. And then there was no word spoken, but Aquarius looks at one of the other foster children, and without saying a word, they knew this was trouble, and they had the whole caption talking about these white women trying to kill us. and the other foster kid goes also, without saying a word. All you see is a caption, and nigga, we know. So it's just stuff like that. Reason why you gotta love Atlanta, man. It's some great TV to watch. I highly recommend anyone to watch it. And if you're unfamiliar with Atlanta but want to get into it, I think you're in luck. I would definitely say go ahead and binge watch season 1 through 3 if you got the time. Especially since these episodes are pretty quick watches. So yeah, man, I thought that was just amazing. Yeah, man, I'm speechless for it. I'm just happy that Atlanta is back. I'm glad that they I brought it back, even though it's going to be over after season 4. But there was some other, I apologize if I'm all over the place, but there's some other things that was notable as well. One notable part being, if you notice, when Laquarius ends up being taken away from his mom, the CPS is there, a white lady, and she's accompanied with police officers because they're entering a black family home. But when it's vice versa, when there's a black CPS lady who comes to check on Laquarius and the other black adopted children, she goes there by herself. There's no cops around, and she ends up getting killed in this reenactment. So there's just different cues like that. Another cue that actually got me upset was, if you noticed, the foster parents literally treated the dog better than these children. The one scene when Laquarius is complaining about, this food's not cooked all the way, this is horrible, give me a burger, I'd rather take the hamburger. And the foster parents are like, nah, you can't have a hamburger, that's not for you. And he's literally looking at the dog like the dog is eating hamburger. They're just like, hey, that's on the dog's menu, that's not for you. So just stuff like that. Even when the whole suicidal driving off a cliff thing, they stopped first and let the dog out before they went to commit suicide with the children in the car. And, for those who are still here but didn't see the episode, once again, you've been warned about the whole spoiler alert. In this reenactment on Atlanta, the kids sneak out before the suicidal foster parents drive off the cliff. Unfortunately, in real life, they did pass away, the whole family. And that's another thing. Also, it just really, the minor cues and stuff really throws you off. That's another thing that kind of is upsetting when you think about it. There were articles that didn't necessarily lean towards calling this a suicide. They just called this, what's the word? I'll put the article in here, but I want to say they made it sound like it was a car accident, like this car accidentally drove off a cliff, instead of it being some grand suicide attempt. And once again, it's just this is why I want to focus on this particular episode and not the second episode. This really focused on all the different type of social issues and racism issues that still go on. Once again, the difference between the black CPS woman and the white CPS woman checking on children. In real life, there's an article that makes it sound like this was an accident, not necessarily some suicide attempt attempted by these whacked out foster parents. So it's just all types of stuff like that. The fact that even in that episode, they was definitely trying to screw over the system, and they just had so much leeway. It seemed like because they were white, it just really screw over the whole adoptive system, and they was wondering why no one stopped them from adopting so many kids, and it's just a lot to get into. But I'm glad Atlanta is back. The second episode was they both were great episodes. Don't get me wrong, but if anything, the second episode was, actually a little calmer than the first episode, or less tame. And this is granted, the second episode I had a blackface in it, so that's how I felt like. I felt like the first episode was much more intense, yet the second episode of this premiere, it featured a lot of blackface all around episode 2. So that just shows you how wild and just different direction that Atlanta can take it. I love Atlanta because it it doesn't shy away from that awkwardness, that weird vibe of they just in your face with that awkward, weird vibe. That's all I can say. It's like they wear it on their sleeve. So they definitely are out there with it. I'm a big fan of this show, and I can't wait. I am going to try to keep you all entertained with this season as we just walk on through it, especially since we already know we have season 3 and 4 and then it's over. So I'm here to try to enjoy it while it lasts. Let me know what you think if you saw this episode. Once again, I highly recommend anyone to check out Atlanta if you're, just a late bloomer about the show. Maybe you're just not finding out about it. Definitely something to check out. And that's my time. And hey, that's just my opinion. Love it or hate it. Peace.